Well, it's about time I make one of these. I know there's probably a lot more of these on YouTube or anything, and you've probably already seen multiple, or you just already know how to make a level in Classic Sonic Sim, but I decided that I'm going to make my own because everybody has different ways of doing level design and all that, so I'm here to explain how you could get good at making a level in Classic Sonic Simulator, because some people struggle with it and some people just like the guide to help them. So I'm going to start by just going over a few things before we start. One, this is probably the biggest one, so I'm going to get it out of the way. Building levels is more so designed for PC or computer, however, whatever you want to call it. You can do it on mobile, but it's not recommended. It's recommended that you do it on PC because using the mouse is a lot easier. Now, I do have some ways of making levels on mobile. I've used a stylus before, but not everyone has a stylus. So if you have a PC, I just recommend using your PC to make levels. Two, when you're making a level, always have like an idea ready or like general inspiration for the level. A lot of people go into the level blind, not knowing what they want to make, or they don't have any sort of like inspiration from other people or other levels, and that's not good because a lot of people lose interest or don't have any ideas for a level, so they quit the level and usually end up not finishing it. I do that sometimes, it's not usually, but it's just good to have a good idea. Now, when you're this tutorial thing is not really for remaking levels, it's for making your own original levels. Now, a lot of people don't like remaking levels, like say official Sonic levels from the Genesis games, like say Mystic Cave or Oil Ocean. A lot of people don't like doing it and they think it's pointless, but remaking levels is actually good practice because it teaches you level design. The original games have the core level design that is pretty much used in every other game after that. So when you're remaking the level, you're learning how the level is made. Yes, not everything is possible to be remade on Classic Sonic Simulator, but it's getting to the point where you are able to recreate a lot of things here by just experimenting with anything. Like, I've seen people make the wildest mechanics out of just normal items that you use for, like, I don't know, maybe a speed booster or something. It's really cool what you can do when you put the effort into a level. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about for the introduction here, and now I'm going to get you guys started on how to make a really good level on Classic Sonic Simulator. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do, okay, personally, you don't have to do this, but when I make a level, I either turn off the music, or I sometimes leave it on, but I like to turn it off. It's good to have music playing in the background. I don't know if it's just me, but it helps me make levels better, so I keep it off and I play my own. I'm not going to do it now because obviously I'm recording, but now let's get into the next part. Alright, so to start off with, you're going to want to make a level. So how you do that, for anyone who might not know, because I can guarantee you that somebody is going to at least be here for their first time. So you go to custom levels and you press create/manage your levels. Here you have a list of all your levels, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find one of the empty slots, and you're going to press enter if you're on keyboard. If you're on a mobile, you can press either of the buttons. It doesn't really matter which one, I think. So then you're going to have the options of the zones that you're going to make a level with. For this video, I'm just going to use test because it's the easiest to make levels with in CSS. So you can use any of these, but for your first level, I would recommend test because it's very easy to like learn level design and learn how to use objects and stuff in test. So I'm going to create a test level, and here you are, your brand new test level, the very beginning of what you're about to create. So when you first make the level, it automatically makes this level design for you. We're not going to need this, but I'm just going to leave it here for now. I'll remove it later. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to first, okay, this is the start to the basics. I'm not going to separate these parts because there's no point. So this is the basics for setting up a level. So the first thing you should always do when you're making a level is have your idea ready. Like I said in the introduction, it's always good to have an idea or general level design ideas when going into a level, so you know what basics need to be set and the foundations that need to be toggled for your level. So automatically this is just the normal test zone. It uses the normal background right here for test, but let's just say you go into the level and you're like, I want to make a cool, I don't know, space level. You can look through all the backgrounds and stuff. Maybe it'll help you find an idea for a level, but hey, I want to make a space level. So I'm just going to go ahead and select Death Egg because that's a good level for space levels. You're going to press the check mark, and now what you're going to want to do is enter the settings. You don't have to do it in the exact order that I'm doing it. This is just the general order that I like doing the basics when starting a level. So here you're going to see a bunch of different options. First, you have starting lives. You can set how many lives you want. So let's say, I don't know, 45. So whenever you start the level, you will have 45 lives. And as you can guess, lives mean if you die, you get to respawn at the beginning or the nearest checkpoint that you have like ran past. So you can see in the corner we have 45 lives. You can go ahead and exit this. So now I'm gonna change this to 5. I like doing 5 for testing, and when I finish the level I usually put it on 3 like the classic games. So the second setting is the act number. Now this really depends on what you're doing. If you're going to have multiple acts per zone, if you're not going to have multiple acts, I'd set it to 0. 0 means there's no act number. It's just when you load into the level with 0, it's just test zone and there's no act. Now if I were to say put it on act 4, you can go from act 1 to 6, by the way. I'm going to put it on 4, and now when I load into the zone, it's going to say test zone act 4. And leave that now. That's pretty simple how the act system works. And now you're going to get into all of the music settings for like the jingles and the just general look of the level. So now you have the tile card style. you have all of the classic games as a setting. You got Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, or character base. Personally, I just leave it on character based because the person who picked their character more than likely wants what is with the character, so I'm just going to give an example. So no title card means that you just spawn in instantly and there's no title card. So title card style S1, if we load into the level as S3, even though we're S3 or Sonic 3, we're going to get the Sonic 1 title. Now, say if we put it on Sonic 2, when we load into the level as Sonic 3 again, it's not going to be the same title card, it's going to be the title card from Sonic 2, as you can see. So it's really just personalization for the level. Like I said, I'd recommend just leaving it on character base, but if you have a level that has a certain theme, like, I don't know, maybe a level is like a Sonic 2 remake and you want the Sonic 2 title card, then you can leave it on Sonic 2. But you can do whatever you want, it's your level. I'm just going to put this on 0 for act number because this is just the test level. Same thing goes for the jingles. I'm not going to showcase the jingles because I have the music off, and it's pretty much the same thing as the title card. So now you'll go down and you're gonna see another setting that says time limit. As you could guess, it's the time limit for the game and like how much time you have to beat the level. So it automatically sets it to vanilla, which is what I also recommend. Vanilla is you get 10 minutes, it counts up to 10 minutes, and as soon as you hit the 10-minute mark, you die. So that's what vanilla is. Now, when you're testing, you got all the other ones too. So like, say you only want 30 seconds to beat the level, 45 seconds, 1 minute, etc. Now, when you're testing a level, I'd recommend putting it on no time limit, so you have all the time you need to test the level. It shouldn't really be a bother if you were to put it on vanilla, since if you're testing a level, I'm pretty sure you should be done with what you're doing before 10-minute mark. But it's just safe to have it on no time limit so that you're not being rushed by the timer while testing. Next is fast respawn. This pretty much disables the title card when you're respawning. It's good for Kaizos or hard levels where you're gonna die a lot, and you don't want that title card popping up and slowing you down every single time you die. So I usually keep it off because it's just like the classic. So next is Badnik drop. This is another like personalization thing that you can do. So Badnik drop, it's automatically set to flicky like the classics. So the flicky is like an item that you can place as well. It drops a little animal. It's when a Badnik is destroyed. In case you don't know what a Badnik is, it's a robot that wants to kill you. So that's that. You can also set it to ring instead. Ring means when you destroy the Badnik, it drops a ring instead of the flicky. And now auto scroll. This is not really recommended for levels, depending on what you're making. Auto scroll means if you toggle it, it means the screen moves instead of you moving it. It moves by itself. So there's two. There's 4x3 and 16:9. I'd recommend just leaving it on 4x3 because more than likely more people will be using 4x3. But 16:9 is an option as well. So when you toggle that, you'll load into the level. Again, as any characters you want. And then you'll see that the screen is now moving by itself. This is good for some platform, maybe platform-based levels. Beware that you can't get crushed if the screen pushes you into an item or foreground, so yeah, that's auto scroll. And that concludes the settings. We're gonna turn off auto scroll because we don't need it. Next is I generally like naming the level. We're not gonna rename it, but this is where you name your level. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick. It automatically puts test zone when you use the test zone gallery. I'm just gonna leave it as test zone. You got all these different words that you can make a name with. No, you can't type your own level name, and it's probably for the best. But you got the zone description too, which is basically like, hey, what's your level about? Let's put it in the description. So this is a test level. So we're gonna put zone test as an example. We cut right there. Had to get some water. Had a little cough this morning, so sorry about that. So we named, we've made the zone description a zone test. The description, like I said, it describes the level and what the level's about. I mean, you can make it anything, but I personally either name it after the level itself or nothing. So you can also put, if your zone's a work in progress, you can put work in progress right here, or no, right here, work in progress. Background. So like we said earlier, the background, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's what shows in the background of the level. So we already decided that the level that we're going to be making is a space level. So we have the death egg surround selected. So you're going to see some things down here. These are the background color, the background tint, and the character and objects tint. So background color, a lot of people get confused when it comes to the background colors and tints. They are two separate things. The background color is not the color of, say, the planet or the stars. It is the color of the background, the black or the darkness of the death egg. So say you can make it 255, and then the background will be hella green. We don't want that because this is a space level, so we're going to put that back on 0. So this is really where the magic starts happening with how your level looks. You use the way that we color our levels is uses the RGB system. The RGB uses numbers as sort of like telling how the system what tint of a color is which. This being red, green, and blue, which is what RGB stands for. So 1 for red means it's a really, really dark red. You can't really see it, but it's a red. Now let's put it on 20. Now you can definitely tell it's red. So for death egg, for the death egg background, I don't like the space to look 100% black. I like it to look a little bit dark, really, really dark blue. So I usually put my blue on 20 for death egg. It just looks better than the black to me. So as you can see, there's the very dark blue, navy blue. So now we're going to talk about background tints. Now the background tints are what colors say the planet and the stars, like we mentioned. So say we want the color of the planet to be red, or some things on the planet to be red. not exactly the water. I don't know, not every background is the same, and not all tints work the same on every background. It's very strange. Sometimes the background color doesn't even work. But say we want red background for the planet. We're going to, let's put red on 223. Green, if you want a red or an orange background, or if you want an orange background, you're going to want some green. But I want red instead of orange. So I'm going to do partial green, so like 76, I don't know, get creative. And blue, we don't really need that much blue. So 30, I'm going to say 30. So now when we load the level, the planet's not just going to be blue, maybe the clouds will change color. Yeah, so as you can see, the clouds on the planet are red now. It actually kind of looks like maybe a beach if there was like a blood moon. Looks pretty cool. I don't know, maybe that's an idea for you. It looks kind of like a beach. A really fast moving beach. Water. So that's how the tints work. You mix the colors accordingly to their numbers and their tints. So now we're gonna talk about character, objects, and tints. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's for, like, say Sonic and the objects in the object menu. So I don't recommend changing the character and object tints unless you're making a level with, say, as an example, let's use the dark Sandopolis background. Maybe you want the character and the objects to be dark too. So what you would do is you would turn this down, make sure they're the same, and Sonic would appear darker. Now I'm going to put it to 150 on all. So I'm not going to keep it like this, but just as an example, I'm going to show you what this does. So just like the background tint, it's going to change the tint and how much color is put into Sonic's sprites. So as you can see, he is definitely way more shaded looking than before. So that's what the character object tints does. It also does it for items like ring monitors and all that, but I'm going to change it back. 255 is the max number for each column. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to talk about the foreground. So, foreground is practically the same. This is a space level. While I was drinking water, I went ahead and did the foreground color. For space levels, so this is like a spaceship level for the test. This is it's either a spaceship would be brown or say gray, so I went with brown. I mixed red, some green, and not a lot of blue, and I got this light brownish looking color out of the foreground. Now this isn't the only type of foreground for test zone. I just like test zone, it looks the best to me. I like my good old test zone. Next, there's a Sonic VR variant. This one looks cool. I see it used in a lot of different types of levels. Maybe it's a level that you're trying to recreate or something. I don't know, maybe it might work. Next is the plain color. I'm not really a fan of this one. It doesn't really look appealing to me, but you might find a use out of it. I have my own opinions, and that's one of the things that made me want to make this, because everyone has different ways of doing their thing. So this is just my way of making levels, and it might be different from other people, but I wanted to share my ideas in case you like them. So the next one is the basic red. You can't really change the tint on this one. This is more so for collision testing. I'm pretty sure Virus uses this one for collision and stuff really good for making games and stuff. Next is the other Sonic VR variant. This is like the plain color. As you can see, it's not like the normal test where it has like all the green, the blue, the yellow, all that. Instead, it's just plain color. This is good for certain types of levels. Like I made an ice level with this one because white foreground is just the normal ground right here, so it's not really fitting for an ice level. So I use this. Then we're getting to all the game reskins. This one being Flying Battery, obviously. You got more from Sonic CD. Most of them are Sonic CD, but yeah, you got a bunch of level skins that you can mess around with. This one's probably my favorite. I like this one. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Foreground. We're gonna leave that there. And now the music. So this is all the music in the game. There's all these pre-uploaded music or songs that you can use in your level. Some of them don't work, and I'm just gonna say this now. At the time of recording this, the audios are still not back. They're not added back to Roblox. So for all the people who keep asking me how I keep getting music in my videos, I don't. I just edit them into the videos, and I'm sorry to confuse everybody, but I can't upload custom audio anymore, and neither can you for now. But this is a space level, so I'm just gonna use Death Egg. See, they got a bunch of retro classic-y music on here. So I'm just gonna use Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Death Egg Zone. You can't hear the music because, like I said, I have the music off, but if I were to have the music on, you would hear the music right now. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the water. Now, this is going to be partially attached to the events. I'm not going to talk about events yet. I will talk about them later. But a lot of people get very confused with this number. So this number, for each one, is 1 pixel. So a lot of people get confused on this part. So each one of these chunks, every single one of these chunks are 128 pixels by 128 pixels. So the water will go down with the corresponding pixel. So the easiest way you can determine what pixel you want it to be on, so 128, this is why I love the test skin so much. 128, you can see that it's separated into 4. There's 4 different types of blocks in each chunk. So each block is 32 by 32 pixels. This is very good, easy. Makes it very easy to do events and all that. So say I want the water right here. What you would do essentially is you would take 128 and you would multiply it by how many chunks it goes down. So 128 times 3 is equal to 384. This is how I do my chunks, but say I want it right under that pillar that I made. I would put 384. And as you can see, the water is right under the pillar. Now, I would not recommend putting the water all the way up here unless you're making like a really evil water level, but that was just an example. So I'm going to put it on, I usually put it on 1300 at the start. Well, haven't done the resize yet, so 1000, or no, let's do 900. So now the water's down here. So now what we're going to talk about, oh, I forgot one part. With the water, it uses the same RGB system as in the tints and stuff. So yeah, this is, you can also disable water. We'll leave it how it is though. So now we're going to move on to my next part of this introduction to level making with items and what they do. So yeah, let's move on to that. Next step, as mentioned, is the items. I'm going to tell you what they are and what they do. So as you can see, we have these 3 tabs, this one being for the foreground, which we'll get to next. This is for the items, and this one's for events. We'll come back to that later. I'm just going to tell you what the items do before we necessarily start making the level. So to start off with, we got the essential rings. Rings are what Sonic collects to prevent him from dying. When you get hit, instead of dying, he will drop the rings. So I place the rings down and you'll see this menu. This menu switches between the different type of the item. So say you don't want 2 rings, you want 6 rings. You got the 6 rings. And what if you want 6 rings but you don't want them spaced out? Well, you can do that too. So now you got the different type. You got the 6 rings close together. Now, what if you want 6 rings not too spaced out but not close together? Well, you're in luck because you can do that too. This is probably the most common ring type found. It's the half ring space. So for every ring, there's half of a ring space. Now that we have some rings up there that Sonic can collect when we start the level, we now have our first enemy that we always see in the Sonic games. This is a Motobug. He rides on the ground, and you've probably seen him before, but he just drives around and tries to run you over. That's pretty much it. Next is Chomper, whatever his name is. It's just a fish that goes up and down. If he bites you, you lose your rings. You can easily destroy him in a ball form though. We have a crab meat. He's like the Motobug, but he doesn't go as far. He just moves around maybe one unit, and then after a while he fires energy balls out of his claws. And that's pretty much it. Delete them. Next is this guy, Leon. This guy is usually put in the walls of Foreground, and when Sonic gets close to him, he will appear, and he will fire an energy ball at you. The energy ball obviously does damage, but if you're using Sonic 3 and he's in the wall, there is a good chance that you might be able to hit him with your insta-shield. Next is the Buzz Bomber. The Buzz Bomber is like a flyby type of enemy. He flies around, and if he gets close to you, he shoots yet another energy ball at you. So that's pretty much what the Buzz Bomber is. Next is Bat Brain. Bat Brain is usually supposed to be hung up on an object like this, and when Sonic gets close, he will drop down and fly towards you, doing damage. Next is the bomb. We all hate these things. They are indestructible, and if Sonic gets close, it will activate its fuse, and if you're standing next to it for too long, it will explode. Not fun. Probably the most annoying enemy in this game. Next is the evil ball hog. I don't like ball hogs at all. They sit there, bounce around, look at you all innocently, and then all of a sudden they drop a ball out of their chest cavity, and next thing you know, you're being exploded by a bunch of tiny balls that bounce around. The balls can go down the slopes, and they can be faced any of these 2 directions, like so. Next is Masher. He's pretty much the same as Chomper. Should be called Chomper. But Chopper goes a bit higher than this guy, so if you want like a fish that doesn't jump as high, I'd recommend using him. If you want one that goes really high, use him. Next is another fish, Chop Chop. This is really good in water. Wouldn't recommend using him out of water because it doesn't really make sense. But he's just a fish that swims towards you when you get close to him. He's like the bat brain, but a fish. Next is Octus. This guy, he just sits around on the ground. He's from Oil Ocean. When you get close to him, he'll rise up about 1 unit, and he will fire energy ball at you. Or a ball. It's not really an energy ball, but it still hurts you. Next is the Asterons. These usually go on the wall. When Sonic gets close, they will move slightly towards you, and they will explode, sending 5 spikes in each of the star directions. So, say, oh, Sonic's getting kind of close to that, he's going to blow up and ruin your day. So, yeah, that's the Astrons. Next is Pogo Hopper. He doesn't get used as much. Please find a use for him. We beg of you. But yeah, as his name suggests, he's Pogo Stick Grasshopper. He bounces around, occasionally changing directions when he hits a wall. That's it for Pogo Hopper. Next is the Bluminator. This guy doesn't move at all. He just sits on the ground. And when he's on screen, he will shoot spike balls out of his whatever this is. Probably one of the more common enemies that people like to use in this game, but he's definitely one of my favorites. This one is a Blastoid. This is from Hydro City, whatever you want to call it. Water Zone. Can we just call it that? He sits on the ground and just stares at you. Again, Sonic walks up to him. When he gets close, he's going to start shooting 3-round bursts of these little balls that obviously do damage to you. So don't get close to him. You can deflect them with your insta-shield, by the way. Next is Bubbles, fan favorite. This guy flies around, and his spikes go on and off. When his spikes are out, he's indestructible. When they're down, you can damage him. Next is this guy, Spiker. He looks like a spike. This is a good Badnik for trolls. You place him on the ground, and instead of damaging you, he actually bounces you. But he does shoot these little balls out of his whatever those are. So beware of that. Next is Blaster Badnik. This guy is pretty much the same as Blastoid, but he moves around a little bit. He also aimbots you pretty much every single time, so don't get near him. But yeah, that's all the Badniks and the enemies. Next, we have this. This is pretty useless. They just added Pocky, which is cool. But you got Flicky and Pocky. They're not really useless unless you're making like a chill level, but yeah. Next is the checkpoint. This is a really important item, used to set your checkpoint when you die. So instead of saying spawning at the beginning of the level, you will spawn right here instead. Yep, that's the checkpoint. Pretty self-explanatory. Pretty sure we're all familiar with how checkpoints works. Next is the most important item, probably. This is the monitor. The monitor can contain multiple different items. The default one is the rings. But you also have the shield, which gives Sonic an extra hit instead of losing his rings. The electric shield, it's the same thing as the normal shield, but it attracts rings, and it also gives you a double jump ability. Next is the flame shield. It makes you immune to fire damage, and you get like a little dash forward when you do it, And it also allows you to break walls very easily. And next is the bubble shield. This one makes it to where you can breathe underwater and you can bounce up, like in a vertical motion. The next one is speed shoes. This increases your speed by, I think, double or 0.5, but it just makes you really fast. Next is the invincibility. This, as it says, it literally just makes you invincible for a couple seconds. Next is the 1-up monitor. This increases your life count by 1. And then last but not least, the egg box. This is a box that if you hit it, it damages you and you lose either your shield, your rings, or your life. So try not to touch that when you're playing a level. Next is the bubbles. These are mainly used for water sections. When you're underwater, you can drown, so these bubbles allow you to breathe an air bubble, and when you do that, you get your time underwater reset so that you don't drown. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Now we have the spikes. These are the most common way of setting up traps and damaging the player. These can be ranged to 4 units wide. They have the spaced chunks, or they have the spaced spikes from Sonic 1. You have the ones that are together. These are more used because they're easier to place and look better. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. You can also make them spike upwards every second. They go up and down. That's the spikes. They have the horizontal facing sprites, the same thing but horizontal. Now you have a spring ramp jump pad. This is like a spring, but it's not the same. Instead of a normal spring, like let's place a spring down. So you've got a spring right there. Let's go ahead and play the level. When you load into the level, you can get your rings. Now, the spring bounces you up, obviously. Sound's muted, I just realized. There you go. Yeah, it just bounces you up, but the spring ramp is different. It bounces you at an angle, so you can walk on it. It doesn't bounce you until you get to the very edge of the spring. So, right here, it's not going to bounce you, but if you were to spin dash, it would. There is a bug where if you go too fast, it will not register that you're on it, and it's pretty annoying at the moment. Hope it's fixed, but try not to go too fast into it, or else it won't work. But yeah, that's the springs. The yellow spring is just the spring, and then we got the red spring. It's the same thing as the yellow spring, but instead of bouncing you to like right here, it's going to bounce you way up here. The red one is stronger. Next is the dash pad. It dashes you in a single direction or both directions. You can set it here. So we look at it, the arrow is pointing right, so when Sonic touches it, it will send him right. Now, if I want it left, I'll press X facing in the object properties, and it will send him left instead. And if you want it to send him in either direction, you can set it to the first type, which sets him in either. But next is the spike ball that swings. It's just a spike ball that swings around. You can set it in multiple different speeds. This is a spinning spike ball. It spins around. When it's in the background, it can't hit you. When it's in front, it's deadly. So don't touch it. Next is the spike ball, the normal spike ball. So there's multiple different types. You got the moving ones. You can change the direction and speed of it. You can go vertical and horizontal. Then you have the big spike ball. This one can be changed. It can change directions, horizontal, vertical. It can change speeds. But unlike the smaller one, it can spin in a circle. Again, you can change the speed. You can put it on the other side, or you can have two. All up to you, what you want to do. Some good water. Next is the ring gate. This makes it to where you can't get past it without you having a certain amount of rings. So I'm going to put this right here. Play the level as an example. So we load into the level. We have the ring box right there. We're not going to get it yet. So we collect these rings. We have 6 rings. Then we come across this door. Say there was a wall up here and we can't get past it, so it's locked. Uh-oh, we can't get past it. Ah, look, there's 10 rings on the door. Maybe I should go get 10 rings. Hit the monitor, go back to it. Now that you have 10 rings, it will open. This is really good for like locked areas if you want to put like a secret or something for having a lot of rings. Good idea for level design. But now that you have a general understanding of that, you can make it more than 10. There's 10, 20, 50, 80, and 100. All up to you what you want to do with the ring door. There is another variant, which is the arrow directions. This will lock the door depending on what side you're on, so I'll let you figure that out. It's pretty self-explanatory. Whatever the arrow is pointing at is what direction it will close at. Next we have the character doors. I don't usually use these, but they're good in some cases. They're not really useful after the character selection was added. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. You can select what characters you want allowed in the level and what you don't want allowed. Most people usually leave all of them on, but say you don't want Supersonic in your level, you can turn that off. And now nobody can play a Supersonic. So the character doors are pretty much the same. Whatever character is on the door will open for that character. Next is the arrows and the warning sign. These are just 2 signs to tell the player if there's, whoa, there's something dangerous up ahead, or hey, you need to go this way. Or you can tell them to go the wrong way. That's all up to you, whether you want to be a troll or not. This is the Master Emerald. Not really an important item, it's just decorative. Used for special stages maybe in the future when they're added. This is another type of spike ball. It's pretty much the same, but spins around differently. I don't really ever use it, so now you have the spring ball thing, whatever you want to call it. When you hit it, it bounces you everywhere. It can be used in very annoying situations, but you can make it move vertical and horizontal. There is going to be one that spins around like the big spike ball, like this. There will be one of these soon. But yeah, that's pretty much the pinball. Next is whatever the hell these things are. Tokens, I guess. I didn't know they were called tokens. They have 3 hits. Every time you bounce on them, it loses 1. So green means it hasn't been hit, yellow means it's been hit once, and red means it's about to die on you. So it can be used for like casino levels and stuff, where everything's just bouncing you everywhere. And then we got the balloons. The balloons can be used for multiple different things. It can be used for a level design, like getting up to a higher place. It can be used for air bubbles underwater instead of using the normal air bubbles. Or it can be used for decoration, whatever you want to use it for. This is the most important item in the game, besides the rings and the monitors. Springs and spikes, but it's up there. This is the test block. This allows you to fill in places that you couldn't normally fill in by yourself. So say you want a chunk, you want a specific chunk, but it's not there. So say you want just this piece right here, not filled in. So what you'll do is you'll move this right here and you made yourself a different type of chunk. So it's different now, and you can do something like that. And now it's 3. Or you can just leave it as 4. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's pretty much the test block. It's very good for blocking ways that can't be blocked with multiple chunks, because you can't overlay chunks on each other. The next item is the breakable wall. It's pretty much the normal wall, but if you spin dash into it or dash into it with a flame shield, it will break. Knuckles also instantly destroys these. There is only one character that can't break these, and it's Eggman, so note that when you're making a level with Eggman that he can't break these. Next is the collapsing platform. When you jump on it, it breaks, obviously. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is the bumper platform. I never really knew it had a name, but yeah, it's just a moving platform that bounces you. Also good for casino type levels. This is the breakable block. When you jump on it, it will break. It gives you 100 points. The points are useless, and that's pretty much all this thing is used for. It's good for, say, maybe use this chunk, and yeah, and then Sonic will walk over here. It's very small because of the zoom in, but jumps on it and that thing will break. Pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, that's that. Sorry if I'm sounding formal about with this tutorial, like explaining everything. I'm just doing it just in case, because you never know if there's a person that does not have absolutely any clue what they're doing. So I know this may be a long video, but this isn't for the old players, this is for newer players that don't know what they're doing. Not to be rude either, I'm just trying to help out. Next item is the pinball bumper. This, when Sonic is on it, say right here, Sonic will slowly slide down. The farther down you are on the pinball, say like the very tip, it will launch you the highest. Really good for pinball and casino levels. Next is the glass bumper. This thing, when you hit it, it breaks. It's like glass. It can be used for, again, casino levels and stuff. Fireball. This shoots a fireball in the direction it's facing. You can put it left and right. Sadly, we do not have a vertical version of this yet, even though it's in Marble Zone, I think. But we now have the swinging platform. This is just like pretty self-explanatory. When you're on it, it swings. It's just a swing. You can make it bigger if you want. Then you got the basic platform. This is a platform that doesn't move at all. It's just the normal platform. Type 2 makes it collapse when you jump on it, so like after a second or two it will fall. It's like the collapsing platform, but a little bit more, it's not loud, or it doesn't make a noise. But could also be used for trolls, because player doesn't know if it's collapsible or not. But there's a vertical movement and a horizontal movement, so you can mess around with the platform. You can also jump through them from the bottom. Next is the stairs. These stairs can move around, or they can stand still and move when you jump on them. So here, this, if I were to play the level, it would move around like this in a square pattern. This one does the same, it just doesn't have the two in the middle. And then this one, when you stand on it, it will move down with this blueprint. Next is the bridge. This can be used for like water levels and stuff. You can jump through it, and it's good for decoration and stuff. You could put like a fish under it if you wanted to. Last but not least, the pushable block. This block, when pushed, it will move. So Sonic can come over here and push the block over here until he meets this loop, which then he can't. But yes, that is all of the items. There are more items in Green Hill Zone and all the other zones, but I was specifically doing Test Zone for this video. So if you want to figure out how to use those, I'd recommend searching it up on another channel or just testing it out for yourself. But yeah, that's the items. That's what all of the items do. Now we're getting into the fun part. Now we're going to start talking about level design and how you're supposed to make a level. I'm going to teach you the best ways to make a level that is functionable and playable and enjoyable. So, like I said, you spawn in with this basic template for Test Zone. We're going to make our own, so we're going to get rid of it. The easiest way to do this, a lot of people don't like doing it because they think they have to erase them singly, every single one. But the easiest way to clear it is to enter the level size and put it onto the smallest size, which is 6 by 2. Now the level is 6 by 2 chunks, and this is where you enter a choice. So there's two good ways to make a level. You can do by certain chunks, or you can have a set planned length that you want to make. So say you don't want a level too long, so you're like, I want a level that's 125 chunks long. Now, your level's 125 chunks long. But what I like to do is I like to go by segments. So my first level design area will be 25 chunks long. So I do it by increments so that it's not always that big. Also reduces like lag and stuff. I usually start on 25 by 12. That's my favorite way to start. The water's fine. I usually like the water below the middle so that I can make water sections if needed. Sorry for my cough. You're really annoying. Alright, so we're going to start by making a ground. So I usually pick a ground 2 above the water, like this. When making a level, try to make sure that the bottom is filled in, because if we're spawned in and there's nothing down here, you will be able to see below the level, which in most cases isn't good. But there's some parts that might look good like that, so that's again up to you what you want to do with it. So now we're going to select the flag tab, and it's going to draw Sonic right wherever you put him. I'm going to put him right here. I recommend that you make sure that he's on the ground. Didn't realize I was all the way over here. Let me fix that. Here's a tip for the editor. Instead of selecting the chunk that you want, if you already have it placed down, you can left click on it, like say air, which is the erase chunk. You can just get rid of the chunks that you don't need. So place him again. Make sure he's not in the ground or above it, unless you're starting the level with him in the air or something. That's up to you. So now that Sonic's on the ground, we can start by building ourselves a foundation for this level. So you have all these different types of chunks over here, a wide variety. We're not going to be using these are decorations, we'll get to those later. But we have the indoor chunks, I like to call them that because it has the like the walls and stuff. But we're going to start with the outdoor chunks. So Sonic's at the spawn, there's nothing here yet, so maybe we want a platform at the beginning. So let's put this right here. I sometimes like to put a little platform at the start. So we got a platform there now, and let's say we want Sonic to get up a little bit. So we look at this, we see all these slopes. Now Sonic has to get up here. Sonic can easily do this by using the spin dash, so he can get up there. Now, cool thing to know, and pretty much essential for this making a level, is make sure that the chunks go together with each other. So a lot of people will do stuff like this, and it doesn't really look good. It looks like this, and then maybe it looks like I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to do it because I don't like doing it like this. It looks like this or something, and people try to use these as like slopes and stuff. Try to make sure that the chunks go together with each other, because more than likely that'll just make the level look better. So now that we got this done, I'm gonna make this a 2. So Sonic will have this little platform. Maybe we want Sonic to get something up here. So we're gonna have this little area over here. And I always start with foreground first. We'll do items and stuff after. So we're gonna definitely need a platform here later. So I'm just drawing the blueprint for the level. So Sonic goes up here. Now maybe we want him to jump over a spike pit. So we'll have this, make it a little bit higher so that the player has to jump over instead of just speed through it. So down here will be spikes. Now that Sonic's over here, let's say we want him to bounce around a little bit. These things allow Sonic to bounce you around. I didn't say that right. It allows you to bounce Sonic around. You can place them like that. We'll leave it like that. So when Sonic collides with these, I'll go ahead and test it real quick. Always test your level to make sure that it works. So when we load into the level, the blueprint that we placed will now be here. So we got our platform right here. Got our little thing up there. Almost touched that. Wouldn't have been good. So say we fall in here. There's no spikes down here yet, but we will place the spikes down here eventually. Sonic would have died, but we can restart. And now we can go up here and see that these things bounce you. They bounce you like little... They're the bouncers from Casino Night, so good for casino levels. Maybe we want a platform that Sonic can hop on, and if he breaches the parkour, if he finishes the parkour section, he can get a little prize up here. So let's put this here, put this here. I don't know, let's say there's a wall right here. Now, it's best to make sure that your level design makes sense in your blueprint eyes. Now, don't place random stuff around and try and make something out of it, because more than likely that won't work. So, for this idea, let's say we put a loop right here. Now, maybe we... So, I always use blocks in the design, it just helps me out. Now, we don't want Sonic to just zoom past and accidentally fall into this pit. We want him to be stopped by something. If you're going to do something fast that follows something dangerous, always make sure to stop the player, because that's not really fair, and more than likely the person's not going to like that. So I'm just going to move it right here. This will prevent Sonic from falling into the pit. So we're going to place this right here. So now we have our little blueprint for this little section that Sonic can go through. So after Sonic Sonic will come up here. If the player notices this platform right here, we can add a little secret up here. Sonic will run up here, jump over the spike pit, go around the loop, be stopped by this block. Then he'll have to jump over another spike pit, maybe not a spike pit down here, but say maybe we want to go down here. So we'll go down here, put a little thing right there, and this is where the blocks come into play. So we can't overlay chunks, so instead of replacing the chunk, we can do something like that, and now this section doesn't look weird and blocky. So maybe Sonic has to dodge a spike right here. So there's a moving spike. Sonic will fall down, and we'll place a spring down here. So now that we're down here, go ahead and do that, and this will enter a water area. So now that Sonic's up here, we'll place one more platform, and once Sonic's up here, he gets his prize. This looks like a good blueprint. So now that you have your foundation for the level set up, let's now start to talk about some things that might interfere. So with items and stuff, you kind of want to make sure that they're like used to their full potential. Say you have a spring right here, and then there's like, I don't know, a wall right here. The spring's not going to bounce you up all the way. If you want level design that puts the spring right here, go ahead. But maybe you should consider putting this right here, so that if Sonic touches the spring, instead of hitting a wall, he gets sent up to another area. It's just making the gameplay seem cleaner and smoother. So this is why I put this block here, so that instead of just dashing through and hitting spikes, you want a more clean gameplay. So maybe we could do this and use that example from earlier. We have this one that's not here. We could put this right here, and we can get rid of this. So now, if Sonic gets stuck down here, he's not gonna die. He's able to jump up here, and from here he can jump back over here. This all makes sense for the most part. So now we can start with our water section. Water sections aren't typically as fast as the top sections are. I mean, you can make it fast, but water sections usually consist of parkour. So Sonic falls down here. He's in the water now. Maybe we'll have a little air bubble over here. Remember, 3 down. And same thing for the walls, 3. Just makes it look better. So we'll put this right here, so it's not as blocky. So now Sonic is underwater. Maybe we want some slopes right here that Sonic can interact with. So let's do this one. So you can put this right here, and we can use our blocks to our potential again. Level design is literally all about just making the level look good while also playing good too. We don't want an unfair level. So just make sure the level is just really like based around what you want it to be while also working. So we have this here now. Maybe we want it to like launch us up here, and then it sends us out of the water. So after doing that, it will send us out of the water up here. But what if we don't want our player to exactly fall down here and die? Well, maybe if the player somehow falls, instead of killing them, we can put like another little area down here. Maybe this could be like a spike pit, and then we can have another little parkour area over here. So just get creative with your level design while also making it playable. So now that this level is somewhat a blueprint, we can get rid of the things that we don't need. Make that 21. We can make a roof right here. Also, what I like doing for, if you don't want Knuckles to like climb over the wall, I usually like to place something like that so that he can't jump up. He might still be able to, depending on if the player is good, but it doesn't really matter. As long as there's a thing on the ground, they can't jump over, so it's very weird. It's something with the bottom bounds and the looping thing that Virus is adding. So when the player goes up here, we could have this area high, and maybe we can have these things. These things bounce you from the wall. They're kind of hard to explain, but they just bounce you off the wall. So now that we have this over here, we can place this right here, and then we can place the goal, which is a ring. Now that we have the basic level design blueprint filled out, we can start working on the items. So let's go ahead and do that. So we spawn in, we have this level design. Now maybe we want to put an enemy up here, right? So we'll go to the enemy. Let's put a Motobug up here. So now there'll be a Motobug up here waiting to ruin your day. He's probably not going to, but still. We can put some rings right here for the player to collect at the beginning so that he has something to clutch onto in case he takes some damage. Now, about that platform right here. Now, maybe the player notices the platform, so they'll jump up and they'll get to the secret. Maybe we can put a little spring up here, and that spring leads up here. Now we can start another area. So I always build the basic blueprint for the level, but while you're placing items, you can always change the blueprint with the items. It's not the other way around. You can change the level accordingly to the items and how you want them placed. So like I said, we have this little area up here. Now we can build something up here. So I don't know, maybe we want to go up, but we don't want to stay up there, so we'll do something like this. So we got a little area up here. We can put a little ramp right here, maybe. And then when the player goes fast enough, they can spin dash out of here. So we have a little blueprint for ourselves right here. So what we can do is, now that we have this little area, we can place little platform right here. That goes up. So Sonic will be lifted up here. We can place a descending stair right here. Place a block right here to cover this up. So now Sonic can go down here, and let's put an invincibility down here. So now Sonic can go down there. So put some more rings, whatever you want up here. Now when Sonic builds up enough force from the slope, Sonic will be able to roll and destroy this wall, while also sending him into a fast part, which is the loop. But instead of killing him, after the loop, he's stopped and saved. So now we're gonna go back down here. Down here we can put a Bluminator right here. Sonic will have to dodge him. Sonic can jump over this pit, get some rings and stuff. Now if Sonic falls in, he's gonna die, so you got that. For the loop we can put some rings in it. Like so. You can do your loop pattern however you want. I have multiple different ways of doing my loops with rings. So now Sonic will come over here. Boom, boom. Now Sonic will face another pit. Now he'll have to jump over this. Now, like we said, we wanted a spike up here that retracts and detracts. If Sonic maybe misses this, he will be sent down. I'm going to teach you a trick. So springs do not have to be outside. They can be in the wall and you can still interact with them. So say someone runs right here and falls, he'll fall down and hit this. And then he'll be sent this way. So if he gets sent this way, we can put some breakable blocks right here. I like doing 5. So as I said, blend the level design with the blueprint. So if it calls for something to go down here, make something exciting happens that maybe sends him down there. Uh-oh, I fell. Whoa. Secret spring launches me over here. Whoa, there's some breakable blocks right there. That's a good way to do your level design. Now, maybe we don't want to spawn at the beginning, so we can place a checkpoint right here. So that Sonic spawns right here. Now, so let's say if Sonic gets up here, he can be launched up here by the spring. We can put a little block right there, and then maybe we can put like a little arrow right here to tell the person to go up there. A little warning sign right there. See, we can put one of these right here, and then when Sonic gets up here, he will be rewarded with, say, some rings and a 1-up. And there you go. That's all it is to it. And then if you want to go back down here, you can put something right here. That'll allow Sonic to go back down. So this secret area is done. I'll add some more rings just in case. Now Sonic's down here. Maybe you want to put a secret shield bubble. So I'll put that right here, right there. So you can put like a little breakable wall right here. If you want to hide it better, you can use type 2, which is just a wall looking one. Put walls above it. And then there's a shield bubble that the player can get. So when the player comes over here, they will not need bubbles. You can place a bubble right here. Now you can place a spring right here. Still getting used to this new menu. The spring will launch the player down and up. But what if the player falls? Well, we can have a little spike pit in case they fall right there. Now, maybe we want one of these. So now there's a platform that you can get up here with. And now we can put another air bubble right there. Now maybe instead of a platform we want a balloon that the player can bounce up with. So the player can get up here, and with bouncing he can get up here. And when he gets up here, we can put a little platform right there so they can't fall back down, and then put a spring right here so that he can get up. Now that's pretty much it for the objects and stuff. Put some rings here just to make. Alright, so maybe some Badniks. Make it a little bit more challenging down here. That looks good. Maybe a Blastoid right here. And that's pretty much all we would need for this little section. So at the end you are able to cover up this area if needed, or if you just want to make it look better. If you have chunks on the ground, it will prevent the player from being able to jump over the chunks on the top. Like I said, it's very weird. It's probably something to do with the bottom bounds. But yeah, this is our little testing level. So maybe you've made something good like this by now. So now you can test the level and see if it works. Testing is very important because it sees if there's anything that you need to change. So, as you can see, we spawned in. We got our little Motobug right here. Killed him. And a little platform right here. You get up here. Maybe you want our rings. You can run up here. Get him. Jump up. See, we go fast, and we're stopped by the block. Get our checkpoint. Go over here. Jump over here, and since we beat the parkour, we're rewarded with a 1-up and some rings. Now, let's test the other path. So we go over here. We can go up here. And we're launched up here. Oh look, a 1-up. Or not a 1-up, but invincibility. What am I talking about? Spin dash, gets the speed, break the wall, boom. And we're stopped by this block. Now we fall on accident, whoa, spring, break this. And it looks like everything's working, so got our bubble shield. Now we don't need the air bubbles. That goes up there. Say we fall, we accidentally lose our shield. Uh-oh. Now we got this little platform that we can use to get up. And we can use this, and then we can use this. Get him. And And there we go. Now, good thing I tested that because I forgot something. I need a spring right here. So that if the player bounces off, and can't make it up here, boom, you can get up there now. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for level design and item placement. Next is going to be events and how to use them. So, now we'll move on to that. So, we got our character. Maybe we want the background to change when we go up here. So, we can put a wall right here. Put this right here. Yeah, that should be good. Now when we go up here, we can create an event, and the first event that you will probably learn about is the background changer. So this allows you to change the background to any of the corresponding backgrounds that are added. So we're in space right now. Maybe we want to go inside the ship, so we can do, I don't know, flying battery. So we'll select that, and we'll find flying battery indoors. So we'll go up here, and when we spawn in, the event should be working when we touch it. So go up here. So we go up here, and when we touch it, it changes the background. But as you could see, we could see it change. So we don't want that. That makes it look somewhat bad. So we're going to, there's not a correct chunk for this, so we're going to have to use blocks. We're going to need this, some blocks, place them down as so. And then one more right here. So now, oh, by the way, if you weren't to have this thing here and you could fall back down, make sure you place another event right here, so that when you go back down, the background changes back to space. But since you can't get back down because of the stair, you can get rid of it. Now that that's there, when we load in, you should not be able to see the background change. And it will be a smooth transition. It's really easy to do this in speed sections, but when you're just here, it's kind of more difficult. So, didn't see anything change, but when we come over here, we can see that the background is now not space. It's flying battery. Get our invincibility. But this is supposed to be space. So, how do we fix this? Well, we just place another event. So what we can do is place either, yeah, we can do this, and then do something like this. And then right here, we can have space, a death egg. So if you can't put another event that looks nice to like change it back, I'd recommend just using a door. I can do that. So, now that we have that there, the background should change back. Now, maybe we want to go down here and change it again. So we can change the background to back to the flying battery, I guess. So this one will have to be... No, we don't need a background. It should be fine. So now I'm going to teach you about bottom bounds. Bottom bounds is essential for some level design. Makes it look nicer. So a good spot that I see this working is right down here. Don't place bottom bounds too high, or else they won't look that good, but you can place bottom bounds like, say, right here. So for this bottom bound, we're gonna want right here, around right here. So we're gonna do like we did with the water and count down the chunks. Remember that each chunk is 128 pixels. So 1, 2, 3. But we want to go down half of one. And like I said, each unit or each block is 32 by 32. So we're going to add 32 and another 32 because half of one chunk is 2 blocks. So that is equal to 64. So now we're going to do our math again. 128 times 3 is 384 plus 64 is 448. So our bottom bound is 448. Now make sure to put your thing back. So our level size is 12. If you want to set it back to the original bottom bound, make sure that it's for this level it will be 128 times 12, which is 1536 pixels. So 1536. And now if we load in to the game and go to where the bottom bound is, it should move the bottom of the level to just under our chunk that we want it to be. So we're gonna go over here. That works, it's fine. Maybe a little bit farther. We'll move it right here. And then we'll do this. We'll move this down here, so that when we go back, it's changed to the original. Or we can go like that. Yeah. We'll do that. So now we'll try it again. This is all about trial and error. You gotta keep testing. See, the ground locks to about halfway through that chunk. There is a visual bug where it doesn't load all the way, but if you jump, it should be fixed. But if we go back, it's fine. Now we're going to test that wall. The door, like the direction door. See, you might not have saw it, but the door closes behind you. And the background changed, which is good. We want that. So yeah, that's how you use the background and the bottom bound. Now for the water level change, it's pretty much the same thing as the bottom bound. Whatever you set it to, say you want it to be 5 chunks down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would do 128 times 5. 128 times 5 is equal to 640. So if you want the water to move down to that specific chunk, it would be 640 with this, the water changer, the water level. So I'm going to say 640. I'm going to put it, oh no, right here. This is about 5. So everything will be fine when we first load in. See, there's no water or anything, but as soon as I walk over here, the water's gonna start rising. And it should stop around, yeah. So, now that you have a general understanding of events, I think we can move on to decoration. So let's go ahead and move on to that. Not going to keep this water. We don't really need it here. So for decoration, it's really just about how you like to make your level look. Some people are good at it, some aren't. So, I don't know, maybe we want this right here at the start. Let's do this one. So this is right here. And then maybe some downwards pillars. And maybe we want like a bush at the beginning. I know this is space, it's just a test level. Inside areas you're not really going to be able to decorate that much. But you can definitely do a lot outside. There are these floating pieces that you can use, like this. I don't know, maybe we want a tree right here. Got a little tree. Maybe we can add a platform right here. And now, maybe what I like doing for spike pits is I like putting these little things in the spike pits. It makes it look more intimidating. Do it down. I can't do it down there. Just look for areas that could decorate. I also like using blocks for. A lot of people know that I like using blocks for decoration. It's like so you can decorate your little area and make it look more foundation. I don't know how to pronounce it or how to explain it really, but just make it look like somebody maybe built something here. Just makes it look nicer, in my opinion. So put all that. Maybe for here we want like. Maybe we should make this a room. There. Now, yeah, I think that looks cool. Maybe we can put some top things right here. Like that. A bush right here. Is there any spot for a tree? Yes, there is. It doesn't. I don't really decorate like this, like over the top, but this is just an example. Maybe water could be a little bit different with like these chunks, and maybe use these. Go ahead and do that. And yeah. Put a little bush for the blastoid. Another tree. No, we can't do that. Decoration can't interfere with chunks, so we gotta be careful of that. We gotta change the bottom bound too, I just remembered that. So when we go down here, we want the bottom bound to be reset to the original, which I have it right here, which is 1,536. And if we go back up, we're gonna want to go back. So the bottom bound here is 448. So 448. That should be fine. Put a little thing right there. Little thing right here. Yeah, just get creative with your decoration. It doesn't really matter how it's decorated. Everyone decorates differently. All up to you. But I think I'm satisfied with what I got here, so gonna add one more thing, which is this. Now, if there's spots that Knuckles can't get to, you can use these walls for decoration, like walls. If they can't get in here, it should be fine. But I'm gonna use that. Knuckles shouldn't be able to get that. And yeah, I think this level is done. So this is just the base level that I made for y'all, just to teach you guys how to make a level for people who don't know. We could, for end design, put a little thing right here, like that. And yeah, that's our test level. Go ahead and test it and check it out. So we're in the level. Let's see, we got our little bushes and stuff. Got a tree, whatever the hell these things are. Got some down spike looking pillars. Right here, we're inside now. Invincibility. Now, over here. Uh-oh. Saw something wrong with that. This won't really work for this, so we're gonna have to do that. And then I'll change that little chunk right there to this. That should work. Take two. Go up here, platform. Get our invincibility again. See, so that area down here is now covered and not empty space. Yep, so now Sonic can actually get hit by these. Go up here. So when Sonic goes down here, the bottom bound will be changed, and now we can go down here. Spring will let us go over here, enter the water, get ourselves our shield. I'm just gonna say this, for a lot of people who don't know how to use these things, if you hold down on them, you can get launched farther. A lot of people don't know that. But, yeah, right to the ring. But, that's pretty much the level, and once you make sure to edit anything if needed, I just wanted to go over what your level should look like, and what you shouldn't make. Just don't make levels that look terrible. They just don't make the game look good, and a lot of people eventually get good at making levels. I'm not like trying to be mean to anybody, so I'm just trying to put this as calm and collective as I can, because some people, I don't know, well, maybe that helped you out, I don't know. It's just a little level to give you some ideas. I mean, it plays well, so yeah. The level should be published after you beat the level, so if I exit the level, you'll see it's published now. Now you can do time attack. Go ahead and turn the music back on. And right here. Play it as any character. And our zone is done. As long as it's playable and it looks nice, it's description of a good level. While also mixing like speed sections and platforming. Yep. Well, that's pretty much it for my way of teaching everybody. If there's anything else that you'd like to learn, as if like mechanics and stuff with like items, I'll be happy to help some people out. Maybe start making some tutorials on how to make some classic Sonic Simulator mechanics. Forgot to mention, a very important part of publishing and editing is to make sure you experiment. Always experiment with mechanics and try and find something new that might work. I've seen a lot of people make some pretty cool stuff out of like just experimenting with chunks and items together. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for this video. Hope you learned something, and just thank you for watching. Goodbye.